It is almost springtime, which means it is time to start planning out your gardens. I'm going to show you a super beginner friendly DIY project on how to build these raised garden boxes. Not only is this project super easy to do, but it's also very affordable. So it's only about $100 a box, which is far cheaper than you could buy them. And they're going to last you a long time.
For this project, I chose to do 2x6s. There's all sorts of options you can get at the lumber store. You could do 2x8s, 2x10s, whatever floats your boat. It does need to be at least 12 inches deep for most garden boxes. If you're going to grow any type of herbs and any type of root vegetables, you need to go at least 18. And so I'm not going to cut the 2x6 by 8. Those are going to stay the same. And then I cut the ends to 3.5 feet. And then this is a 4x4, which is going to reinforce the corners that we are going to hook together. And I did cut those. Don't judge me, they don't look great, but this doesn't have to be perfect.
I used my miter saw for this project just in order to cut those end pieces to 3.5 feet as well as the 4x4s. That's part of what makes this project really easy is that the cuts are simple and there are minimal parts that need to be cut. So you could use a circular saw or a table saw, just whatever you have. Then you can lay all of your pieces out. I just wanted to make sure that my ends were perfectly even so that all of it would line up, and it is time to get started. You want to build the end pieces of the box first. So I started by setting one of my end pieces down and then putting my 4x4 on and then using a scrap piece on both of those ends. And then obviously, since you can't secure it because it's laying on the ground, then I set that piece on top, made sure it was exactly where the other one was, and then I secured it with my brad nailer. And then I just went through and added the second and the third piece before securing it with my wood screws. What I've found with any lumber projects is to use a drill bit that drills a pilot hole into the wood. And then once you have that pilot hole drilled, it's really easy for your screws to go in and be nice and flush with the wood without cracking it or making it splintered at all. I did use 3.5-inch wood screws for this project. It was what was left over from a previous project and it's worked great. Okay, now that both of the ends are done, you can go ahead and stand them up and start adding in each of the long sections of wood. So I started on the first one once it was secured, then I went into the other side and added that one in and just one by one added them up. And I just want to clarify that every time you're securing one of those boards in, they are going into that 4x4. I did 2 wood screws for each board on each side. Some boards like this one, it might be a little tight for them, but you're just gonna have to manhandle it a little bit and they will go in. Normally projects take me a lot longer than I anticipate them taking, but this one actually really only did take me an afternoon in the weekend. So you can build these garden boxes very quickly. It is an easy project, and like I said, it is a great beginner-friendly DIY project. In order for your garden boxes to have durability and last for years to come, you are going to need to seal the inside and the outside of those boxes. For the inside, I would suggest finding a garden-specific sealant. This is going to protect the insides of the boxes when you are watering and there's fresh soil and everything in there. But if you're going to the trouble of gardening and growing your own food, the last thing you're going to want is having a bunch of chemicals seeping into the soil that you just planted. So I would do your research, find one that works for you. I ended up finding one online and had to ship it in because I couldn't find anything at the local hardware stores. Something else I'd like to mention is that it would be wise, if you don't have help, to build your boxes in place as to where their final place is going to go. I built mine obviously on my cement pad, and then I had to have several friends come over and help me carry it because they are very heavy. And as you can see, they are very large. And so I'm going to post another video. I will link it under this one on how you fill that garden box, because you are not going to want to use soil for the entire thing. Otherwise, that is going to cost a ton of money in order to fill it and a ton of time. And this is the final product. I went with a really warm cedar stain. I love how they turned out. I have loved gardening. I've learned so much while doing it, and I hope that you do too. I hope this has been helpful.